Hey everyone, welcome to our special edition of the Logic Apps Webcast. We are coming to you from Microsoft Ignite in Orlando. So thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Jeff Holland from the Logic Apps team. We are joined today with a special guest, one of the few times we've had a guest on this webcast. Sarah, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. Sarah Fender. I'm from the Azure Security Center team and glad to be the honored guest today.
Yes, Security Center is doing some amazing things and some things that relate with Logic Apps, so Sarah's going to show it that. And less exciting than Sarah, but still here, we have our other two attendees who just tagged along to come to Orlando.
That's right. We just wanted to come to this magical place and hang out with all of our great customers. So it's been the happiest place on earth. That's right. Yeah, I'm happy. Are you happy? I'm Kevin Lamb. You guys remember me? I'm from PM from Logic Apps.
And I'm John Fancy, also a PM on Logic Apps.
Great. So we wanted to have this webcast, publish it in the middle. We'll share some of the latest and greatest things we're announcing here. But before we do, Sarah, a lot of people watching may not be fully up to speed on both what Azure Security Center is, why it's amazing, and then potentially how it can tie into some of the workflows or integrations that Logic Apps users are building. So do you just want to give a quick overview and show us some of the magical things that are available here at Ignite?
Let's do it. Great, so we're looking at Azure Security Center here. Now, Security Center provides unified security management and threat protection across all of your hybrid cloud workloads. So what are we seeing here? We're seeing the Security Center dashboard, and we can see that there are some issues, right? We see some red here in our compute. And so we can click in to learn more about what's going on. So Security Center is continuously assessing the security of your cloud and on-prem workloads against a set of security best practices.
So do I need to install any agent on the machine, or does Security Center just monitor them out of the box?
So Security Center gives you some insights just right out of the box. Just open Security Center and you'll begin to see some information about the protection state. Now we get some extra information if we install the monitoring agent on those VMs, and we can do that for you automatically as well. And any new VMs that you create in your environment can also have the monitoring agent automatically deployed.
Nice. Makes sense.
Yeah. So it helps you find issues like if you have some computers that are missing security updates, some that don't have disk encryption enabled, or let's say you've got some vulnerable Windows or Linux configurations. All of that surface for you here in Security Center. So you can understand, where some security issues exist and can take action to resolve those. So it does that. It also provides some built-in security controls for you, things like just-in-time VM access that help you to lock down remote access to your virtual machines. It has capabilities like adaptive access controls, get down here, adaptive access controls, which help you to lock down your machines to prevent malware from running there. And then finally, it's monitoring your hybrid cloud workloads using advanced analytics like machine learning, tapping into Microsoft's vast global threat intelligence to detect active threats that are targeting your organization.
We love smart integration.
Yeah, this is cool. This is one of the favorite things I like about Azure. I noticed with SQL Azure too, you can get threat analytics and it will detect SQL injection.
Yeah, and it's helpful that it's looking across all of those workloads, so you get this one unified view. And that's helpful for IT pros or IT security guys that are kind of responsible for all of security across their org. So it's helpful for people who own the workload and also for those people that are kind of looking across workloads. So what we're seeing here now is a set of security alerts, things that were detected by Security Center, and we group related alerts into incidents, like the one we see here, which helps us get a sense of what actions this attacker may have taken. And then one of the cool new things that we released this week at Ignite is this new investigation experience that we're looking at here. So organizations are really challenged. They're getting alerts from all over the place of different levels of fidelity, and they need a way to rapidly respond and investigate those. Every second counts when you're under attack, so you really need some tools to help get that very hard job done. So up at the top, we see this new attack campaign, or the attack path, and down below this interactive graph, which helps us to explore the connections between users and devices. So we can see here that this particular campaign started with a successful brute force attack against a management port. That was used to compromise this Contoso web server. We can click on that to get more information about the web server. We can leverage built-in queries to view related security events. For example, here we see that this system had some missing updates, which could have made it vulnerable to attack. We also would have seen that in that compute experience that we just saw. And we see that there were some accounts that were added as administrators, local administrators on this account, which is pretty suspect. So we can come back to the graph and explore a bit further. We can see that this potentially compromised account here has been used to execute a suspicious process. So we can really easily explore what's going on. We can understand what's the root cause of this breach, what the scope is, what resources or user accounts were impacted. And once we get a handle on that, one of the cool new things that we're showcasing is the ability to automate response, right? To automate some common security operations workflows. And so we've got integration now with Azure Logic Apps, which is fantastic.
I've heard great things about that product.
And so that enables us, again, to automate common workflows. So this could include a range of things, blocking the compromised user account or quarantining the VM, creating a ticket in our incident response system. So all of those kinds of things can be done here right from within Security Center. So let's just click on one of these to take a look at what's going to happen. We execute this playbook and... Okay, so when we look at the playbook here, we're seeing that there's some conditions, right? It's being triggered based on this alert, and it's checking to see first, is the alert a high severity? And if so, it's posting a message in Slack. If not, it's just sending an email as an FYI. And we can actually edit the playbooks here as well. So if we wanted to add a new action, we could do that right from here.
That's awesome. So it looks like you have a set of playbooks already as part of the product, but I can go create my own logic apps and just have them run as playbooks. If I have that new, when a response to an Azure Security Center alert is triggered, then you recognize that as an alert playbook.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Sarah, very, very cool stuff. Anything that, if people want to learn more about this or understand what's coming next, any resources that people can check out?
So they can certainly go to the Azure Security Center documentation, or even just open Security Center and start kind of playing around with it. Yeah. I'd certainly recommend doing that. Yeah. You know, we're really excited about the integration. Ton of potential to automate common security operations workflows to really help these teams be more efficient and more effective. You can imagine in the future there'd be the ability to automatically trigger them for known alert types that you know can be easily triaged. We're also thinking a bit more about how you might be able to leverage those to automate security vulnerabilities that were identified. So we saw earlier, some issues like disk encryption not being enabled.
Oh, so sure.
Lots of potential here. Yeah. So we're really excited.
Go turn that on
right now. This is step one, but we just see the tremendous amount of potential here. So we're excited to get started on the integration and to work with the team. So
great. We've been working really closely with these guys, and it's awesome how attentive to detail and getting these scenarios out there. It's been awesome working with you guys.
Yeah, and a great portal too. There's not a whole lot of products where they show me their demos in the Azure portal, and I'm like, oh, this looks really slick. But that was one of them. So Logic Apps, Azure Security Center, those are probably the two best ones right now in my mind. Attention to user detail. Okay, perfect. Well, thanks so much, Sarah. We'll let you get to it, and we'll go with Kevin to share the rest.
All right. Yes.
Okay, Kevin.
So not only did we have Azure Security Center as a really big highlight at Ignite this year, it was in the keynote. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we have a whole bunch of new stuff coming along too. Let me go ahead and. So what's new? So we're trying to give you the nuggets here at the webcast, and for a full list of things that are released, always go to the portal.azure.com, and you'll see that full set of features that we've released. First, boom, boom, boom.
Oh, this is a good one. Yes.
Yes, and this is in no intensity order.
Yeah, so
this is the best one. It happened to be first.
So we've always had ways for you to kind of call your own custom endpoints. Obviously, there's the vanilla HTTP action. If you're moving up the stack, you could use an Azure function to wrap an endpoint. You could use app services or API management. What Custom Connectors enables is you can still have that extensibility, but you can register your endpoint as one of those connectors. So it shows up as one of those pretty little icons in the big list. One of the other big benefits you would get from this is we'll actually manage the authentication for you. So similar to how we do with our connectors, if you have an OAuth token that needs to be refreshed or reused, you can tell us, hey, here's how to get a token, and we'll make sure that there's always a token ready to go at runtime.
It's really cool, because now it's treated just like any other connector in our list, and you can party on those connections and recycle the auth. It's pretty cool.
Yep, and for more, John, are you covering this more in your session?
I'm going to cover this in my session later this week.
Okay.
Yes.
So check out so if you're watching this right now on Wednesday, go tomorrow. If you're watching the recording, go to Channel 9, check out, search in John Fancy's name, and find out more on how you can use this.
All right, what's next? Large message support.
I feel like we already shared this one. Is this new again?
No, this was now integrated in Designer. It wasn't released.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
It's about
it was coming soon.
Coming soon.
Ah, you know.
6 months.
Yeah. It's here.
It's here. So essentially, what we're doing is chunked messaging between particular connectors. So today we support it between the FTP connector and the blob connector. So you can go from blob to blob or FTP to FTP or any combination of those two. And we'll be able to now send messages that are up to a gig in size between those connectors. Now, being large message support, we allow you the transfer of these large messages, but you still can't go and interrogate something that's over 100 meg. But more and more of our connectors that have to deal with large files will start supporting this message chunking.
Great.
Variables append to array.
This came in handy for me the other day. So again, one that's been coming soon for a while, and now it's here. If you want to append something to a collection, the scenario where this often comes up in the one for me is you might have a for each loop, and for every time something happens, you want to append some result to that, and then outside of the for each loop, you want a summary. So this append to an array is a great use case for that. You can just pop something into the end of a collection, and then at some point just flush that whole collection.
A little tidbit, if you're doing that scenario, make sure you turn on sequential for each.
Or else you're going to get a bunch of parallel stuff and things break.
And then they'll right on top of each other. Right?
Which is in the designer, so it's easy enough. We should almost do a little landing tip now. Just maybe that'll be coming soon.
It might be there.
Who knows?
Okay.
We should know, but...
Talking about loops, nested for each and do until. So now in the designer you can go ahead and nest for each and do untils and another nested for each in that do until. So you can go and party and do your nesting for eaches and do untils until your cows come home.
Can you say that 10 times fast?
No. Yeah. Cows come home, cows come home.
No, the for each, do until, for each, do until, for each. Cows come home, what do I care about that? Oh, you put this in the slide?
I did, it's awesome. It's not really called Ludicrous Mode, but I couldn't
resist. Did you look into this, by the way? Is it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I won't mention any product names, but Ludicrous Mode, it's not really called Ludicrous Mode, I just liked how that sounds. It's pretty cool. So what we've done is we've enabled high throughput processing in Logic Apps so that you can turn this feature on. It's not available in the portal just yet, but you can do it as part of your definition of your resource. And what it will allow you to do is a little kind of lifting the covers of our architecture in the back end. We have a number of scale units in our back end, and every time you have a Logic App, it runs in one of the scale units. We've just enabled the ability to take one Logic App definition and span it across 16, 32, 64 scale units, so then you're getting way more increased throughput on those Logic Apps. So that's our cool Ludicrous Mode where you can go and really start pushing limits.
This is cool. You're going to cover this on Friday, right?
I will cover this on Friday and how you actually set it up in the advanced Logic App stuff.
I think you've seen us talk about this before. It's the pattern where you need really high throughput. This makes it so much easier. We talked in the past about how you can have multiple Logic Apps and multiple connections and a bunch of other things to really get up into the sort of thousands per second type of rate. This Ludicrous Mode kind of gives you a lot more capability, better performance, and easier kind of, you don't have to worry about that stuff with your Logic App. You really can live the whole serverless thing, and we scale it all out for you without worrying about it. It's cool.
Your problem now is going to be the guys trying to receive messages.
That's true.
That's right. Yeah. You can fall out with some people pretty quickly.
And I hope on your presentation on Friday you are calling it Ludicrous Mode then as well.
And I'll use that as my words.
You should. You should call it Ludicrous Mode.
I'll change my deck to say Ludicrous Mode.
Maybe you could spell it, with a Z or something.
Yeah. Just so we don't have to worry about trademarks or anything.
Retry up to 10 times. So before, you can only retry up to 4 times, but we've now extended so when you do your custom retry policy, you can actually go up to 10 times. Ooh, this is a nice little tidbit. So if you've ever tried to call a logic app from a Power App or Flow, it was possible, but really hard. We didn't make it easy for you. So now we make it super easy. There's a button in the Logic Apps Designer so that you can go click it, and it will export it and push it and make it available in your tenancy for Power Apps and Flow. So now you can just call it. It looks just like any other connector that you have in those services.
Yeah.
Super excited about that, because there's a lot of scenarios we've run into customers that said, hey, I want the simplicity of Power Apps for my client front end, but I was building Logic Apps. How do I get those two things to talk?
Yep.
And same with Flow.
Yep.
I'll give this one to John.
Oh yeah, this is me. What is this one?
Correlation.
So on the OMS backend, we wanted to have more correlation information, and we weren't emitting that as part of the log analytics.
Okay.
So now we're doing the correlation ID so that you can do all this cool OMS.
It just makes it easier to kind of connect all this stuff back up again when you're running queries against it in log analytics. And some of the work that we do relies on it. So you get kind of full traceability across the processing that's going on in your Logic apps.
And does this correlate runs, actions, workflows, everything?
Well, it emits the correlation ID from your trigger that's for a new instance of a Logic app.
Ah, sure.
Right, so then now that gets emitted. So it was
the custom client tracking ID.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So that ID that you can set, it could have been started on-prem even, and then we'll just flow through.
That's right. So every child Logic app that's called, it will get flowed through each one of those. Then you can see the flow through the different Logic apps and their correlation to each other.
Great.
Expression IntelliSense.
This is a great one. If you haven't tried it yet, in the designer, you get that dynamic outputs tab. It says expressions. It used to just be a list, and you'd kind of have to type in Notepad. We've now integrated the Monaco IntelliSense, which is the same thing Visual Studio Code uses. So you can get some help in writing those expressions. Really useful, honestly. I use it all the time now.
Color encoding and everything.
Yeah, looks great.
It's a great way to quickly find your expressions.
The new one, I don't know if it's here. I'll jump in if it's not. Go ahead and push next.
Schedule-based batching.
This one's actually, I love the batching stuff.
So this went out Friday, so probably still rolling out during the week. So we talked about batching before, the ability to be able to batch items up and then release them by count. So you can say, I want to process every 10 messages, and your Logic app will fire and receive 10 messages in an array, and you can spin over that. Now you can also do schedule-based batching. So you can say, and you can combine these two things together, so you can say, release this batch every day at 3 a.m. or every 15 minutes, or a combination of count and schedule. So you can say, I want to process 100 messages, but every 30 minutes it'll give you all the messages that have accumulated over that time period. So a lot more control over these kind of batch scenarios.
Super powerful.
The team here knows I've been gushing about batching for the last few weeks, because I did some customer boot camps, and this batching functionality comes in so handy. I think one of the scenarios that came up was there was a customer who manages toll booths for toll roads, and whenever they got a batch of 1,000 license plate images, they needed to send that off to a vendor to process. And they were kind of chewing for a while on how are we going to solve this. You pop in this batch action, and with this schedule-based batching, now they can say, once I get 1,000 images, or it's been an hour, just flush everything I have, send it on, in like 3 steps. This somewhat complex thing was just handled for them. Like that batching is super, super cool.
Okay, is that it? I think that's it for our new stuff.
That works.
New connectors. We have a lot of exciting connectors coming out.
There's some big ones on this list.
Yeah, so Azure Security Center trigger. So you just saw in Sarah's demo where you saw a Security Center trigger. So that's now out of the box with your requests trigger. It's a different flavor where you get all of the tokens from an event from Azure Security Center. The Log Analytics Data Collector. That just got released just I think today or yesterday, where now you can actually add information to Log Analytics from your Logic. ServiceNow. Oh man, I've been waiting for this one for such a long time. There's so many customers who've been asking for the ServiceNow Connector. Now we have an awesome ServiceNow Connector that's out there, so you can create tickets and you can get, read, write into ServiceNow. Go party on it. It's just released yesterday and is rolling out to all the regions. So if you don't see it right after this webcast, find a particular region, it'll be there, but definitely by the end of the week it'll be in all regions. Another thing we've done to make some of the discovery and interactions better with DateTime functions is we first class those into action, so then instead of having to write expressions as part of another action, you get to actually do a DateTime conversion right in the middle of your logic app. Azure Event Grid publish. So, we've done a great integration with Azure Event Grid, and so we had a Azure Event Grid connector that allows you to subscribe to a resource for events, and that resource could be a custom topic, or create an Event Grid request trigger, which then allows you to drop that webhook into your custom subscriptions for logic for any resource that you had. But now we have the ability to publish back into an Event Grid from your logic app. So that'll be the scenario started, kind of melting my mind. It's awesome.
Recursive events.
Recursive, yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
O365 groups. So now we have connectivity to O365 groups. A big announcement that we had here at Ignite was our working closely together with Adobe. So now we have Adobe Sign. So now you can have another way to do formal signing of documents from within Logic Apps. You can create a whole bunch of scenarios for request processing. Those are some of the scenarios you've been doing for a while.
Very cool.
Yeah. Skype for Business. So you can now create Skype meetings and send IM messages through Skype. So now we have our first class connector for Skype. And finally,
hey, this is a huge one.
LinkedIn.
You snuck it all the way on the bottom there, buried the lead.
Yeah.
This is like number 4 on user voice.
It's now there. So now we have a LinkedIn connector. So with the merger of Microsoft and LinkedIn, now we get to actually take advantage of that asset. And now we have a LinkedIn connector.
Check it out.
And then we have a whole slew of other ones. We have Apache Impala, Flowforma, and Busy connectors.
Yeah, Busy's actually here at Ignite. I met with them this morning. They let you kind of build really quick and easy bots with Flow and Logic Apps using their thing. So cool to see some of these connectors popping in.
Yeah, our connectors guys have been busy. Okay.
You
just got that.
Can we cut this out?
But we also have a bunch of stuff in progress, and one of them is concurrency control. So we've enabled the ability, and today it's actually there in the back end. We just haven't released it out into the designer yet. But before, we gave you the ability to either have a singleton for your Logic app, or it's as fast as it comes in. So now in this first iteration, is for non-split-on triggers. We allow you to control the concurrency, the degrees of parallelism of your Logic apps. And that'll work for both a trigger as well as for each. Now for each, you can go from 1 to 50.
Yeah. So if you were reading off of a queue and you noticed that, like Kevin said, you could either do 1 at a time, or maybe we were processing 50 messages at a time and you had 100 runs happening in parallel. This gives you the knob to say, you know what, I only ever want 5 runs at a time, and we will make sure that you never have more than 5 runs at a time.
That's great for downstream systems that get overwhelmed by the speed of Logic apps.
Of all that ludicrous actions, yeah.
Oh, so
hey, this is a great one, John. What's the story now on Sept?
So this is coming along nicely.
Yeah, I've seen some bits pop up in some testing environments. I've been excited.
Indeed, yeah. So this is going really well, and it's in progress. So hopefully we'll talk more about this soon.
Expression tracing. Don't you hate it when you get into your Logic Apps monitoring view and you can't see why you took a condition path?
Yeah, all you see is false or true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're going to make that better so that you'll actually see the breakdown of the expression, get an expression tree, and that'll be in the monitoring view.
Coming so soon.
Yeah, we've been itching for that one. For each failure navigation.
Oh yeah, another big one. Similar to you can't tell why it's true or false. You processed 1,000 items. You know one of them failed, and you don't know which one. So here you'll be able to jump straight to the for each iterations that were failures.
Super soon. Functions plus Swagger.
This one is actually showing up in tomorrow's demo. This is really nice. So if you use the function action today, you have to define the full input object, and then all you get back is an opaque object. So you have to do some parse JSON and crafting of objects. What this enables, if you're in the functions portal and you've defined an API definition, we'll honor that definition. So we'll prompt you for, you know, customer name, customer ID in the designer, and we'll also know what the response of that function is. So just helping you get a really clean development environment between functions and logic apps. Coming very soon. So as I mentioned, demoing it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's pretty soon then. HP OAuth with certificates. So we have HP OAuth in Designer today. So if you want to talk to an endpoint that has OAuth, but
now this is the HTTP action, not the HTTP with auth. Correct? Yes. Correct. Okay. Just clarifying that in case you're going to test this out.
So this is the HTTP action. So you're in the middle of your logic app and you want to call out to an HP endpoint. Today we have a number of different ways that you can do authorization. We have basic or advanced things where you can just put in your group of JSON to describe the security protocol. But in this case, we have OAuth now with certificates. So if your OAuth protocol requires a certificate, we support that. Complex conditions.
Ah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay. We'll see this again. Well, because I pause because we'll see and/ors. So complex conditions will allow you to do lots of ands and ors within your condition. Today we just have that simple, you know, is A less than B, then do a condition. Now we'll actually have a hierarchy of ands and ors so that you can do some much richer conditions.
Any of, all of, ands, ors, equals, all that cool stuff.
That would be really cool. Simple rules. Simple rules.
Simple rules.
Right here in your Logic Apps Designer.
Ah, yes. So there's another one that's coming really soon. Is bulk resubmit. I think I mentioned this before. So we have our OMS solution with all the log analytics data kind of surfaces up in. And you'll be able to soon be able to resubmit not just a single item at a time like you can in the Logic Apps kind of blade in the Ibiza portal, but be able to bulk resubmit as well in your OMS solution.
Super powerful.
So very handy, yeah. And then batch configuration and integration count. So yeah, another batching feature that's coming really soon is the ability to specify the configuration for the batch release in the integration account if you have one of those, to save you having to kind of re-enter that configuration when you're sharing it across a number of different flows. So you can just set the batch configuration up and then reference it from the Logic app, and this gives you, finer grained control over which batch triggers that Logic app received and a bunch of other things, and that's coming soon.
Yeah.
Great.
Did I say coming soon enough there?
No. Really soon? And the whole set of connectors coming in the line.
Yes,
so we have a Workday connector, Marketo. We're coming back with Marketo, right? That's back to the old days for those who remember.
The original one,
right?
Yeah.
Doing a compute connector. So we have a compute connector in GitHub, but particularly for those scenarios you saw for Azure Security Center, hey, I want to be able to interact with my my VM. I want to be able to shut it down or do some other things to that compute node. So we'll have a connector that does that. One of the ones I'm really excited about that's coming, containers.
Container connector.
Container connector.
But we're serverless.
No, but we can.
I know.
It's
great.
outside of us.
It's very good.
If you want to have really long-running processing things and you can have a container, we will go ahead and instantiate that container. Will run, and then we'll wait for it's done. Then it comes back, task complete. Very cool.
Party on.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay.
Plenty of stuff to do. The events. Yes.
This is a big one. So this is the Integrate 2017 in Redmond. We were going to have Scott Gu as a keynote speaker, and all of the guys from the product team will be there to talk about all the integration products. There's still tickets left, so please sign up for that, and you can come meet us in person at the Redmond campus. Yeah,
it'll be a great conference. We'll all be there. Scott Guthrie will be there. Service bus, functions, flow, whatever you're interested in, all the cool stuff. And it's in our backyard. So
all the cool kids will be there.
Yeah. Don't miss out.
And us.
Yeah, and yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey.
Also Kevin.
Hey.
Yeah, it should be a great event, end of October.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's not all. We will be on the road.
Wow.
Again, still on the road.
Yeah.
I'll take the first one then. So Serverless Conference is the beginning of October in New York City. This will have a workshop. If you go and check out, you can actually get a 30% discount if you sign up with the Azure discount code. So look on Twitter for that. But we'll have a workshop. It's an all-day workshop that takes you through Logic Apps, functions, and Event Grid. There's the hackathon. We're going to be giving away some IoT devices at that hackathon. And then there's 2 days of sessions, and Azure will have, I believe, 3 sessions during those 2 days. So check it out. Submissions are no longer welcome. That is closed, but send me your submission, and maybe you can speak at something else coming up.
Or you can just submit to Jeff.
Yeah, just give in. Just don't risk it. All right, moving on. Workday Rising.
Workday Rising. So we'll have representation at Workday Rising, and we'll be talking about our Workday Connector.
You whispered, and yes. Mike isn't good enough this week.
No.
He said our Workday Connector.
Yes. So kind of the cat's out of the bag there, right? Because you get to see that it's going to be out on October 9th at the Workday Rising event. But come and talk to us about your scenarios for using Workday or Logic Apps in general, and we'll be at the booth at Workday Rising.
And if you're not going to be stateside anytime soon, John.
Yes, I'm going to be in the Netherlands and Belgium for the Coded Connect event on the 9th and 10th of October.
Great. So check it out. Is there? And they go to these links and they can get tickets or sign up?
Yeah.
So wherever you are, unless you're in Australia, New Zealand, and we're not there yet, or somewhere that's not whatever, Europe or America. So there's a lot of places we still have yet to go. But there's plenty of chances to meet us, so please come and say hello.
As always, you can reach us through a various set of places, through our blogs, through vote for new features, send us an email. We're always available to talk to you guys.
Great. So that's it for this month. Thank you so much. Apologies, I know the audio is a little bit quieter today because we're on the road and I did not bring our cool microphone. But turn up your volume real loud. I guess it's over now, so whatever. But thank you all so much. We'll tune in next month. We'll do a webcast probably right around that Integrate conference. Reach out to us, let us know how we can help, and until next time, thanks so much.
Bye.